to a brand new episode of Coin Edition's Web3 interview. This is where the world comes for the blockchain and cryptocurrency space news. I'm your host, Gina, and today we have the CEO and founder of Zeeve. Welcome, Mr. Ravi Chamria, to our show.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. Thank
How
you for
are you?
inviting.
How are you? Well,
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
great. How are you?
I'm great as well. So, you're connecting with us from India?
That's right.
Amazing. So, can you please talk a little about Zeeve and your um, company, the project?
Yeah, so Zeeve is a Web3 infrastructure as a service platform. We provide necessary developer tools and infrastructure tools for various blockchains. And we cover all the major public protocols as well as enterprise protocols. And we provide shared APIs, full nodes, archive nodes, app chain infrastructure. So any kind of infrastructure that is required as a service to various developers and builders in the Web3 space.
Awesome. So Mr. Ravi is here with us to talk more about the app chain infrastructure. So to move on to the first question, sir, there are a lot of infrastructures and a lot of projects that are establishing itself in the blockchain space. Can you please talk about more about the app chain infrastructure?
Yeah, so AppChain is something, it's a new concept, but yet, has been there for quite some time. So as we see, there are layer one blockchains like, Ethereum, Avalanche, etc. And, we have seen that layer one blockchains, they have a lot of challenges in terms of scalability. And to solve those scalability challenges, there are various options people came with. One option was layer two solutions, and we have seen quite a few layer two solutions. But challenges with all these layer one and layer two solution is that developers are competing for the same set of resources which these blockchains provide. And at times, different startups or enterprises do require more control over the infrastructure. They would require more dedicated resources so that they know when they scale up, there would not be challenges due to congestion or gas fee or user experience, etc. Or they may have some, customized needs. That's where the concept of app chain, which is application specific blockchain. So anyone want to build their own blockchain, they can use the concept of app chains. And it's easy to build your own custom blockchain using app chain because necessary components are already in place. Vis-a-vis creating your own layer one blockchain, which requires huge amount of efforts and, not just on the technology side, but also on the business and marketing side.
All right. So also, if you talk about the world of blockchain, we often hear that there are different networks like public, private, and consortium. Could you please explain how AppChain fits into this broad range of spectrums?
So public blockchains, as the name suggests, are public in nature. Anyone can join the network. Anyone can become a miner or a validator, depending on the network. So anyone can participate in the consensus. Anyone can, do the transactions on the chain. That those are public blockchains like, Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Binance, and so on, and Polkadot, so on and so forth. And then, there are, on the other hand, there are enterprise protocols, which are largely used for consortiums, like we see a lot of consortiums in place today. Digital Asset Broker Consortium by Vodafone is one such example, which are led by industry players, and other industry players join those consortiums. They are a bit permissioned in nature because there is a control who can become participate in the consensus. So those are permissioned blockchains. Now, why permission blockchains came into play? Because enterprises do require control over some of the aspects, whether it be access controls or privacy or managing data compliances, etc., which were difficult to find in the public protocol space. So that's why enterprise protocols came in. But enterprise protocols are limited by the number of people who are joining the consortium, and that's why they are more centralized in nature. There's a lack of decentralization. And that's where I think the app chains fit in very, very nicely, because app chains, like enterprise protocols, give you a lot of flexibility. You can define your own consensus. You can have set of privacy, especially with zero knowledge proofs based chains coming into picture. It gives a lot of options for the enterprise to have control, and at the same time, it has got a public nature. Most of the app chains lease security or decentralization from the main chain. So, for example, Avalanche subnets, the main chain validators of Avalanche, they actually validate on the subnets. So you're leasing the validation part of it. So that means that security and decentralization you're leasing and ensuring a large decentralization and much higher security. And at the same time, for your specific to a use case or an application, you still have quite a lot of control. So that's why I think App-chain fits it very nicely among the different set of chains today.
Along with other solutions like layer 2 solutions or side chains, AppChain also deals with the scalability issue that exists in the blockchain sphere. However, could you please explain how AppChain stands different from these other solutions?
See, layer 2 solutions typically were thought of to take care of the scalability challenges. So I think classical example is Polygon. Polygon is a layer 2 solution, and yet Polygon offers Polygon supernets, which is an app chain concept, right? So Polygon came into a picture because Ethereum was facing a lot of challenges in terms of scalability. There was huge congestion, and especially, whenever CryptoKitties kind of dApp used to come in, there was a sudden higher congestion, higher gas fee, and we have seen that deploying a smart contract used to cost $1,500 to $2,000, right? So the gas fee could become so exorbitant that it's difficult to do even smaller transactions on the chain. That's where the concept of layer twos came in. Layer twos, took off the load share of the main chain. You can do all the transactions on the layer two and then commit them on the main chain. So that's where layer two, and I think Polygon is a classic example. And then in addition to that, we have Arbitrum, Optimism, and few other quite a few layer twos today on Ethereum. But app chains, as I mentioned, the kind of challenges like a common shared pool, whether it be a common mempool, these kind of challenges are faced on Polygon itself, because once layer 2 becomes very popular and you are launching a dApp which requires some dedicated resource or some visibility on the kind of gas fee that will be levied to the users who are using your dApp, those kind of challenges still remain. It were not there when Polygon was launched, but now as Polygon became more and more popular, again they are facing the same kind of challenges. The gas fee become a bit higher. There's a lot of congestion on the network, and when there's a congestion, it's not just about increasing gas fee. It's sometimes your transaction is not being included in the block, right? So you do have to increase the gas fee to pay for it. So that's where Polygon launched Polygon Supernets. Polygon Supernets is one kind of app chains today, and the whole idea was that they can still take leverage, the decentralization aspect of Polygon, but at the same time, you require a lot of application-specific features or controls, whether it be on the infrastructure level or consensus layer, that startups can use. So that's how app chains are quite different from layer 2 solutions.
So, what would you say are the similarities that app chains have from layer 2 solutions?
Yeah, so one, of course, you're not burdened with the scalability. In fact, both are improving the scalability. Layer 2s by taking off the load from the layer 1, and app chains by being completely independent. Having their own chain means that you can define your own gas fee. You can whatever congestion would be there will be your user base, which is good to have problem, right? So, but you will not be burdened by the resource utilization of other users or other dApp owners on the chain. So that I think both solve the scalability problems. And of course, rest of the features like layer 2s also inherit decentralization from the main chain in most of the layer 2s. And the same way app chains also inherit or lease security and decentralization from the chain that they are inheriting. So app chain, like in the case of Avalanche subnets, app chains are leasing security from the main chain, Avalanche C chain. And in the case of Polygon, they are taking it from a layer 2 Polygon. So app chains becomes quite different.
So up until now, we have covered the similarities and differences of AppChain with its other solutions. But then, in your opinion, do you feel there are limitations to AppChains?
Yep. So not limitation in terms of the problem that is trying to solve, but yes, of course. See, creating an application and deploying a smart contract on Ethereum or Polygon or Avalanche is comparatively easier for developers, right? He doesn't need to worry about any other infrastructure component. But when you plan to launch your own blockchain, then of course it's not just about deploying some nodes. You need to have Explorer, you need to have cross-chain bridges, you need to take care of every other aspect, consensus, bringing in validators. So, but at the same time, your focus should be on your business. You are building an innovative dApp, and the idea is to launch the dApp and get more and more users to start using the dApp. So that is where the focus of a business is. Now the business gets burdened with all these pieces, and that's where App-chain comes in. App-chains try to solve some of these components are already there, but then again assembling these components, bringing them together, and deploy and manage such a large infrastructure is definitely a challenge for most of the startups. So this, I think, is one of the challenge, I would say. Not a limitation per se, but yeah, more of a challenge for different app chains.
All right. So with such a thorough understanding of the technology that is, updating around us in the blockchain space, how do you feel Zeeve fits into this?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, in the case of app chains, like, owning your own custom blockchain, you do require all the necessary components at the infrastructure level. So you need to have a sound enterprise grade deployment of the RPC nodes, your validator nodes, and then you require other infrastructure components, whether it be wallet infrastructure, white label explorers, or cross-chain bridges, different SDKs, different set of APIs. So all those pieces are required, and that becomes very complex because it doesn't come off the shelf normally when you see any of the app chains. So Zeeve has built an automation for managing these app chains. We help developers and enterprises who want to launch their own custom blockchain using app chains, whether it be Avalanche subnets, Polygon supernets, Substrate parachains. We enable them to deploy this infrastructure, and we enable all the necessary components so that they get all the tools and enterprise grade infrastructure in one place. So that is how Zeeve is trying to solve these challenges. And for the staking part also, one, we provide white label staking infrastructure, but in terms of, we are also helping these startups and enterprises to connect with main chain validators and get the desired liquidity or validation on their new app chains.
So you are supporting a range of app chains, and Zeeve is supporting a range of app chains and helps with the integration that involves with it. Um, Given that aspect, how do you see is the future of app chains?
No, we are very excited about the whole app chain concept because it solves a real problem. And the real problem is that there are a lot of, if you talk about the startups, there are a lot of startups who want to have, control over the consensus. User experience is one big challenge. They don't want their users to be burdened with resource sharing, etc. So, and secondly, on the enterprise side also, enterprises also want to launch, larger enterprise systems where they have control over the privacy, they adhere to regulations and compliances. Yet at the same time, it is largely decentralized, so there is lot of trust when somebody joins the network. Because most of the enterprises have faced this challenge, or consortium have faced this challenge, how to prove to the other consortium players that everything is properly in place. That's where I think AppChain is very well positioned, and we see this concept growing. And we have seen that in last 6 months, we see a larger traction. Yes, comparatively, the adoption is still very low because it's something very new. Polygon Supernet is coming up with their stable 1.2 version by the end of this month. Avalanche subnets, we are already working with quite a few subnets right now with Avalanche. Substrate parachains, we know there are quite a few chains. We are working with a lot of substrate-based networks today. So yeah, so in all these three, and then there are a few other blockchains who are coming up with their own app chain concepts or subnet concepts. But right now we are focused on these three. They are huge ecosystems. Polygon, Avalanche, and Polkadot is a pretty huge. And yeah, so it's a very exciting time to get into app chains.
Awesome. Also, I'm curious, how does Zeeve keep up with the being relevant in this such an updating market? How do you and your team keep up with being so relevant, efficient, and effective for the market?
Yeah, so one is, I think, keeping abreast with whatever is happening. So we participate in a lot of events, conferences. We do a lot of webinars, interact with a lot of people, industry people. Then we have a strong partnership ecosystem, and through partners like partnership with Polygon or Avalanche, etc., that again enable us to keep up and keep abreast with whatever is happening, whatever new things are coming in. And then we have our own R&D team, which ensures that we are moving as per the market is moving. Because technology innovations is happening very, very fast in the blockchain space, new concepts. So I think in the case of AppChain, we are the leading player right now in the AppChain infrastructure. So we were in fact one of the earliest one to adopt AppChain. And before adopting, in fact, the idea was being understand what they are, what this concept is offering, and then accordingly invest into it. So we have invested time and resources into these new concepts, and have been most of the times first in the market to bring them to the Web3 world.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for your spending so much time to share your insights. Thank you so much for everything that you shared with us. And we, from the CE team, wish you all the best for your project success.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. And thanks a lot for this opportunity. And thanks to Coin Edition.
Thank you so much, sir. Also, back to our viewers, if you guys loved watching this episode, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this is your host, Gina, signing off. Bye-bye.